welcome to Monday's edition of Cracking the Cryptic, where today my first job actually is to say a very happy 15th birthday to Matthew Jenkins. Matthew, I hope you have a great day, and I wholeheartedly approve of your brother Tom's card, which is there on the screen. we got that via Twitter. I thought that was lovely. Now, my next job is to tell you about today's puzzle, which is called Build Your Own Killer Renban Edition by Joseph Nehme. Now, Joseph's puzzles are always an absolute joy, and this one today is meant to be approachable, so we should be in for a fun time without having to sort of bathe our heads in cold water at the end of the puzzle. We shall see. I'll read you the rules in just a second. The only other thing I wanted to mention, well, there's two more things I wanted to mention. We're very, very close to the start of December. At the start of December, we'll be releasing the new monthly reward for those of you who are patrons of the channel over on Patreon. And this time, we've got a Mexican standoff. We've basically got puzzles from three constructors played off against each other, leading to a fourth puzzle, and you can find out who wins the Mexican standoff. It should be very popular, three very, very good puzzles leading into sort of a fourth meta puzzle. So look out for that in just a couple of days' time. And of course, if you get an answer to us within the first 20 days of December, you'll be in line for a prize. I've just sent RJ Powers his Bubba Is You key from last month. Other than that, just do check out as well Sven's SUDOKU PAD. It's now out on Windows. You can get it via Steam. We're very, very thrilled with it. And yeah, anything you guys can do to support Sven's amazing efforts to create this incredible software we use on the channel every day would be welcome. And it costs less than a pint of beer. Less than a pint of beer. I think it's a couple of quid or a couple of dollars, depending on your currency preference. Now, all that said and done, let's get on with Joseph's puzzle. We've got normal Sudoku rules apply. In cages, digits must sum to the small clue in the top left corner of the cage. Digits cannot repeat within a cage. The cages themselves must be deduced, and that is good news because some of these cages seem to have very high numbers compared to the digit we could put into this cell, for example. I'm not sure. I've done a Sudoku where you could put 39 into an individual cell. The cages themselves must be deduced. Each cage contains a renban that spans all of its cells. I'm just looking at the rules here. I hope they're going to explain what that... Yes, they do. Okay, so we're going to explain what that means in a moment. The line must start at the killer cage sum clue. Okay, so let's think about this cage. There's a line that starts here, covers all the cells of this cage, and it must move horizontally and vertically through cells, but not diagonally. The line must not branch. NB, as usual, the killer cage total must always be in the upper left-hand corner of the cage, with uppermost prioritised over leftmost. So this sounds complicated, but most of you will be familiar with this. It's basically a rule that says, you know, if we draw a cage in this grid, let's draw this cage. Now, if we were going to write the killer cage total into this cage, where would we put it? Well, you'd have to put it in this cell, because this is the uppermost cell, and it's the upper leftmost cell. So you basically find the topmost cell in the cage, and then you find the leftmost cell. So imagine that square was also in the cage. This would now win, because this is the uppermost and leftmost. So this wins on both counts, but otherwise it's uppermost that takes precedence. So we've got to make sure that any cages we build have that property. So let's think about this cage and how we could build it. What we can't do is claim that it's ever going to go to this square, because if it ever goes to that square, this 15 should have been in this square, and it's not. It's in this square. Similarly, this 15 can never go to the left, because if it did, this square would need to be where its clue, its cage total was provided, and it's not. Now, cells connected by a renban line must contain consecutive digits in any order. So basically, we're going to have to build killer cages here, where the cage is entirely covered by a line which can be a renban line, i.e. consecutive digits. So all the cages basically contain consecutive digits, is a short way of saying that. and that's all they contain, because the renban has to cover the whole cage, and cages may not overlap. So I think there's quite a lot of words in these instructions, but to me, perhaps because I've done so many killer Sudokus in my life and I understand what a renban line is, I think I get this. I'm looking forward to having a go. Do have a go yourselves. The way to play, as always on Cracking the Cryptic, is to click the link under the video, as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. I get given digits today as well. Wow. Now, my temptation here is to try and sort of speculate, or at least list, how many cells each of these cages can have, because an 18 cage, if it's got to be covered by a renban, it's going to be 5, 6, 7, isn't it? Can we do it any other way? Oh yes, we can. Ah, that's annoying. I thought I was going to be able to conclude this was a 3-cell renban, but I can't. I've just realised it could be a 4-cell renban, so I'm going to put 3 and 4 in there. I'm going to think harder, because I forgot the possibility of 3, 4, 5, and 6. 3, 4, 5, and 6 add up to 18. You can't make 18 in 2 cells. If you make it with 5 cells, that's not going to work, is it? Because basically we're saying, no, it's not going to work. Because if you think about what's the minimum you could make 6 cells add up to, it would be 21. So if we miss out 1 digit from 21, we'd be missing out a 3 to make it 5 cells. And then those digits that are left are not consecutive. So I don't think you can make a 5-cell sum add up to 18. So this one is a 3 or a 4. So it's either 3, 4, 5, 6 or 5, 6, 7. Am I going to pencil mark that? Yes. That might be foolhardy, but I am going to. 11. Right, 11 I suppose could be 5 and 6, couldn't it? That would be a 2-cell renban. It can't be a 3-cell renban. All 3-cell renbans are divisible. They're mod 3. By which I mean they're divisible exactly by 3. 2, 3, 4 adds up to 9, divisible by 3. 3, 4, 5 adds up to 12, divisible by 3. And it can't be a 4-cell cage, because although you can make a 4-cell cage add up to 11, it would be 1, 2, 3, and 5. That's the only way of doing it. And 3 and 5 are not consecutive. So this is a 2-cell renban. Aha. Right, well, let's stop there and take stock. Because that now... Yeah, that's beautiful. This can't be a 5, 6, 7 renban. Because if it's a 5, 6, 7 renban, the 5, 6, and 7 in the 18 cage are all going to have to be in this box. And that square is going to have no possible value. So this is not a 3-cell renban. And it is a 4-cell renban, therefore it doesn't contain a 7. And yeah, this is lovely. Already this is lovely, because now, how do we get this to work? It's a 4-cell renban that contains a 5 and a 6. Well, if this cage was entirely within box 3, this would still have no possibilities. So one of its digits must be outside box 1, and the only cell it can reach in 4 cells is that one. So this is a vertical string of digits, with this square and this square now containing the same digit. And we've done this cage, or at least we've specified exactly its contents and exactly its geometry. And we know those 2 digits are the same. So this needs to be a different colour. Let's make that one blue. But I know those 2 digits are the same, so I'll give those 2 a grey flash. Yeah, okay, and now I know which way the 11 goes. It can't come here, because I can't have 2 digits from this 3, 4, 5, 6 total outside of box 1. So this must go there with a 5 or a 6. That's blue. Therefore, this square is not 5 or 6. Isn't it staggering how much you can do with just a little bit of information? Nah, I'm not sure. I know there's a 7 in one of those 3 cells now. Let's look at the 14. 14 cannot be 2 cells because 8, 6 and 5, 9 are not consecutive. It can't be 3 cells because it's not mod 3. Just to explain the mod 3 point, if you think about 3 consecutive numbers, and let's imagine we were to list them here. 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. So the middle one is the middle of these consecutive digits. Call it x. So the smaller one will be x minus 1, and the larger one will be x plus 1. Now if I add x minus 1, x, and x plus 1 together, I get 3x. So whatever x is, so the sum of the digits is always a multiple of 3, and therefore we can immediately deduce that 14 is not a 3-cell cage. And it's not a 2-cell cage, so it must be a 4-cell cage. Because it can't be a 5-cell cage, because the minimum 5 digits could add up to is 15, because the triangular number for 5, i.e. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 is 15. So this is 4 cells, and it must therefore be 2, 3, 4 and 5. So this square is a 2, 3, 4 or 5, and it's not 5, because there's a 5 already in row 1. Yeah, these 4s are confusing me. The 4s are the size of the cage. I can get rid of that one because that's true. This one has to grow to be of size 4. I don't know how to do that. Okay, so let's go on to this. 11. Yes, 11 we worked out was always 2 cells, didn't we? So this is a 5 or a 6. Don't know if we know which direction it goes in. 18. 18 was 3, either size 3 or size 4. And this square has loads of options, doesn't it? 15. 15 could be 5, because it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, or 2. It could be 7, 8. And that would be very interesting, because the 7 would have to go there. Or 3. It could be 4, 5, 6. Oh dear. 4. I don't think it can be 4, but let me just think about that for a second. If it was 4... No. Alright, it can't be 4 for maths reasons. If we think about... If you imagine my string of digits here, and imagine we had 4 of them, and that this time I'm going to make the smallest one x. So the smallest one is x, the next one is x plus 1, x plus 2, x plus 3. So the sum of 4 consecutive digits could be written as 4x plus 6. Therefore, we'd have an equation that says 4x plus 6 equals 15, which means 4x equals 9, so x is not an integer, and that's not right. We know we can't have partial cell sizes for cages here. So 2, 3 and 5 are the only options for this, but I'm not going to pencil mark this because the smallest digit you could put in it is a 1 if this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the largest digit is an 8 if this was just 8 and 7. Ooh, 39, that must be restricted. So that's at least a 6-cell cage, because you can't make, in a Sudoku where you've only got the digits 1 to 9 at your disposal, if you add the 6 largest digits up, you get 39. 9 plus 8 plus 7 plus 6 plus 5 plus 4. And the way you can work that out quickly is by knowing the secret. The secret, of course, is that the digits 1 to 9 add up to 45. So you know that however many cells are in this cage, you're missing out digits that sum to 6. Well, you could be missing out just a 6, and then you'd have the digits 1 to 9 with a 6 missing. Well, that's clearly not consecutive. You could be missing a 2 and a 4, or a 1 and a 5 if you were missing 2 digits, but both of those are taking a digit out from the middle of the string. Or you can be missing 1, 2 and 3, and you leave yourself with a consecutive sequence. So this is of size 6, and it does contain exactly the digits 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. This is good lift levels of pencil marking. Mark would approve of this. 10. 10 is not mod 3. And you can't make 10 in 2 cells with consecutive digits. That's impossible. So this is, oh, that's huge. That's a 4-cell clue. Oh, and it must contain a 1. So the 1 in this 10 cage, because remember, this 10 cage cannot go upwards, otherwise the 10 clue would be in a cell up here somewhere. So the 10 clue is made up entirely of, cells in this geometry, and we have to put a 1 into it, so there must be a 1 in one of those 3 cells, and a 1 in one of these 3 cells. But the 1 in one of these 3 cells will belong to the 10 clue. And that cell itself is a 1, 2, 3 or a 4, and it's not a 3 or a 4 because of the column. So this is down to 1 or 2. 15, we've already looked at that, that's 2, 3 or 5. 18, we've looked at that, that's 3 or 4 in terms of size, but it has loads of options. Okay, so we've done our sort of prep work, haven't we? And now I'm tempted to look again at this 39, because that must be, well, there's also not much room for it, frankly. This 18 is, the 18 has to drop downwards because it can't get 3 cells horizontally, and it can't go obviously upwards or left of this cell. So the 18 is dropping down somewhere here, and when it does that, it's penning in the 39. Because the 39, what that's telling us is the 39 cannot come across here. So the 39, that's going to really put pressure on the 10. If the 10 does that, the 39 is now impossible. Because the 39, the only way it could get 6 cells would be like that, but that means the 18 is impossible. So, what am I missing here? If the 18 must take one of those 2 cells. This has to come out through... Oh, the 10, can it be that then? I was thinking these were all going to be sort of strings. But no, I don't think this can be a string. By a string, I mean sort of a 1-cell snaky type thing. Because this drops down, even if it dropped down just to that cell, now the 39, which is 6 cells large, must take this square now. And however it gets there, it's got to leave enough room, let's just highlight those 2, for this to be a 4-cell region. Well, the only way that works is if the 10 is like this. So the 10 must be like that. The 39 must come to this square, so it's got to take all 3 of the... Well, it's got to join up with we've got to join up with this domino becoming blue. Oh, and taking this square forces the 18. This is beautiful. So the 18 now must take those and maybe this one, but it's now penned in the 39, which must take another 2 cells to be of size 6, and there we go. We've actually... The 15 is at least 2, so those 2 must also be a region. And the 4... Yes, here we go. The 10 cage contains a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. So this square is not 3 or 4, but more importantly, or more interestingly, there's got to be a 4 in the 39 cage, which now has to be in one of those 2 cells. So that square is not a 4, and the only place 4 can go in the 10 cage is now here. That's the only place 3 can go, because of the 3 locked in here. So we've now got a 1, 2... Oh, no, we haven't. We have got... Well, we have at the moment, but we can go further, because we know the 1 is not there. So that's a 2, that's a 1, and there we go. The 10 cage is filled in. This column just needs 7, 8, and 9 to be filled in. That square is not a 4, because the 4 in this box, or in this cage, is down here. Now what do we do? now we say that, I don't know, how can we get more of a grip on this? That's the question. I'm not sure whether we have to look further afield and wend our way down to the bottom right of the grid. This 15, is there some reason it can't be? 5 cells looks quite tricky at this point, doesn't it? Yeah, yes, if it was 5 cells, where's it getting its 1 from? Because remember, its 1 has to be in those cells, otherwise this 15 clue here should be further left or further up. And it can't get a 1. It can never get to that square, it's too far away, so that's not a 5-cell clue. If it's a 3-cell clue, oh, that's beautiful, right, of course. It's not a 3-cell clue because that would be a 4, 5, 6, and where are you putting the 4 in it? Nowhere. It can't get a 4, so this is a 2-cell clue, oh, which means it's not a 2 in there, it's a 7 or an 8. And therefore that square is known. That's an 8 because there's a 7 given, and that's a 7. Now we've got to put 7 and 8 in the blue region somewhere. They're not there, they're not here. So 2 of these 3 squares are 7 and 8. Oh, which means that square cannot be a 7 or an 8. So that square's got to be a 9. That came out of nowhere. That square's not a 7 anymore. Oh, you can't put 7 in the 18 cage. So it's... Yes, it's not a 3-cell cage. It would have to be 5, 6, 7 if it's a 3-cell cage. So this is a 4-cell cage. So that means we know it is made up of 3s, 4s, 5s and 6s. So it must extend again to be 4 cells. This is a 3, 4, 5 and 6 triple. 1 is now exactly here in box 8. We've almost got something going on with 5s and 6s in this column. This square can't be a 2 anymore because this square can be neither a 7 nor an 8, so it cannot be a 2-cell cage. If it's a 3-cell cage, it's 4, 5 and 6, which is impossible because if this is 4, 5 and 6, we've got 5 digits selected from just 4 different numbers in the row, and you'll have to repeat one of them. So this is actually a 5-cell cage, which means this cell is a 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5. Let's give this a new colour. We'll give this the award of being green, and it has to go here for its 2nd digit. 4 is not in those cells, which means 4 is in one of these squares, so that's not 4. I've got to put 4 in the... Hang on, I've got to put 4 in this 15 cage. Where's it getting its 4 from? Because there's a 4, I think, in this domino. Whoopsie, I made a mistake there. I was trying to just pencil mark 4 in the corner and ended up losing my army. But, yeah, 4 in this cage has to be gleaned from somewhere down here because it can't be the 4 that's already in the 39 cage. So in fact there's a 4 here, so we can get rid of all of those, but all of these. So the 4 has to be, it's not in those, this is another cage. So yeah, and it can't be in anywhere in row 6, so that's the only square it can be. That's a 4, and that tells us the geometry of this 15 cage. That's such clever setting. It really is. Now I've got a 1, 2, 3, 5 triple here. I've got no 3 in those squares. Now 3 is locked out of those squares, so it moves down here, which means, I'm not sure what that means. Oh, 5 is locked out of these squares as well. So this is now a 4, 6 pair, which means, whoopsie, this is a 3, 5 pair. That's no longer a 5 or a 9. Oh, in fact, yeah, hang on, there's a 9. There's a 9 in my blue cage. It's got to be here. So So these squares, oh, there's a 5, I see, now there's a 5 in this domino, which means that square's become a 6, that's a 5. Now we know that in this 18 cage there needs to be a 6, so that's got to be it, which means we've got a 3, 4, 5 triple. We can place 6 by Sudoku in box 7. These squares, well, now we know, now we know where the 7 and the 8 go, exactly into those two positions in this 39 cage, which means that square's got to be a 5. And now we can label these two squares. Well, where do we put 2? That's got to be 2. That's got to be 6. And these are cageless cells. These are sort of lone wolves, mercenaries on the field of Sudoku. Okay, what about that one? We've not looked at this cage. We know that it cannot have a 4 in it. So it must be 5, 6, 7. So this one is a 3-cell 18 cage. Ooh, right. Hang on, have I made a mistake? No, that's a 7. I was going, what exactly can this be? It can be 7. And I was also noting we've got a problem with the next digit, but that can be 6, I think. And then the 5 will have to be there. So this is a vertical cage of 7, 6, 5. Those two squares are a 3, 9 pair to complete the row. These two squares are a 2, 8 pair, which we can do. We know the order. And I'm sure we could do more. We just have to work out what it is. That's not a 3 by Sudoku. 6 down here gives us some more joy from Sudoku. Okay. Now, can we resolve that square there is a 1 or is not a 1 or a 2. So this is 3 or 5. 6 here means this square is a... Oh, look. Yeah, lovely. This little 11 cage now is buildable because we can't put the 6 in it there. So that must be the 6 in it. That becomes its own cage. We'll make it purple. 5 is ruled out of these squares. We've now got a 1, 2 pair here. Oh, and a 3, 5 pair here. So there's a 3, 5 pair in column 5. Just using Sudoku for once. Oh, and a 5 here, which is going to resolve everything. 5, 3, 5, 3. How many 5s have we got? The answer is, oh yes, quite a lot. Enough to get another 5 here. Oh, I see. And we can't quite disambiguate the last dominoes of 5s in the grid. What about this row, though? I've got loads of low digits, so I need 7, 8, and 9. Well, that can't be a 7 or an 8 because there's a 7, 8 pair there. So that's a 9. This is a 7 or an 8. This is a 1, 2, 3 triple, and the 3 in it must go there. This is now a 1, 2 pair. That's a 1, 2 pair by Sudoku. And now we can probably do some other things, although I'm not seeing what those things are. What about 9 in this box? 9 has to be in that domino. Okay, that's not quite good enough, is it? It's going to be a 9 along with whatever this digit is. That digit's going to have to find a home in box 1. It's going to be in one of those two cells. So we've only got this cage to think about. Just trying to see if there's any more Sudoku we can do. 7s, 7s. No. 7 is in one of those 3 cells. 6. Oh, 6. There we go. We can get 6 here. And a 6 here. And a 5 here, therefore. That does disambiguate the 5s. So now we've done all the 5s in the grid. Now, what do we know about this one? This is... Oh, for some reason I thought it could be a 2-cell cage because I saw the 2 in it. That's not right. It's a 14 cage. So it's size 4. So it's 2... Oh, so it's got that one in it, has it? It's a 2, 3, 4, 5 cage. That's not... That 5 is not available to it. Yeah, the only 5 it can get its hands on is that one. So these two are part of the same region. We'll make that region an orange region. And there's no, oh, there's a 7 in one of those, but it doesn't. Yeah, this is lovely. This square suddenly become important. Look at this. If this is a 7, how do we build this cage now? Only with this domino. It's the only way of connecting this square and this square in a 4-cell cage. But that's going to make this a 2, 3, 4 triple and give this no option at all. So the 7 can't go there. The 7 goes upwards, which means, and now we ask the same question, how do we build the orange cage? We've got to build it like that. Where does the 3 go in the orange cage? It goes here. This square has a 2 or a 4. 3 gets resolved over here. That's going to bounce back over here immediately. Joseph's puzzles are just, I mean, they're perfect. They're perfect because they don't strive for ridiculous difficulty. They just strive for making the solver have a great time solving the puzzle. And that's what he guarantees every time. It's so clever. This is an 8 or a 9. Ooh, can we do more here? Oh, 3. Yes, we can. 3, 9, 1. So that's not a 1. We've got an 8, 9 pair in box 3. Do we know what they are? They've got to include a 4. Oh, yeah, okay. They include a 4, but we can't do it. Okay, now I'm stuck. How do we get unstuck here? 1 is nearly restricted in this box up here, but not quite restricted enough. There's a hidden 1, 2 pair in column 5 because this digit can't be a 1 or a 2 because of the 1, 2 pair in the box. So the only place for the other digit, the other 1 or 2, is at the top. So that means this square has become a 4 or a 9. That's absolutely useless. Oh dear. Okay, so now we're getting stuck. This is bad. We need 1s, 2s. Oh, how about the top row? Where do the 1s and 2s go in the top row? We've got a 1, 2 pair here, so that's got to be a 1 or a 2. It's still not resolving anything. That's an 8 or a 9. So now in this column we've got a 1, 2 pair, so we need 7s and 8s. Ah, that 7 is playing its part, so that's got to be 7. That's got to be 8. That gets the 8 and the 9 done. It gets that 9 done. This is an 8. That's a 7. Nice. So that becomes a 4, 9 pair, joining up with its friend over here. So this row might be where we're meant to look next. We've still got 7 and 8 to place. And where does the 7 go? It's got to go there. So 7, 8, 8 by Sudoku, 3s and 4s into this column. 3 and 4 can go in. 4 and 9 can go in. 9 goes here. 8 and 7 go in. Okay, so now it feels like we've probably made enough progress that we should be able to finish this. Look, there's a whole load of stuff at the bottom I've not finished off, as ever for me. Where does 9 go in this column? It's got to go here. And this 1 is lovely, because that's going to give us the 2s and the 1s, isn't it? 1, 2, 2, 2, 1. There's got to be a 1 in this box and a 4. And we click, tick, and that's how to solve it. We did build our own killer, renban edition. Joseph, stunning as always, and perfect difficulty, very approachable, very interesting, because we had to use our brains, or at least I had to use mine to work out the possible sizes of the cages. I liked the interaction between these two cages straight off the bat, but I think the real breakthrough is understanding those 3 cages and thinking about how this 39 cage can ever actually grow to the size it needs to without either giving the 18 cage or the 10 cage a terminal problem. And we managed to figure that out by putting a little 2x2 Fistamafel-esque region in the corner. So I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments. I do enjoy them, especially when they're kind, and we'll be back later with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.